We have received an awful lot of referrals, good ones, in the areas we've chosen, which is mainly trust and estates. We've also chosen business transactions. We've received lesser referrals from that. But in the trust and estates referral area, we've gotten really a lot of excellent referrals. One of them is going to go to mediation. It's an interesting one. The client came to us, a LegalMatch, beneficiary of a large trust. And coincidentally, I happen to know her father. He was a social friend, and I had also wanted to, if possible, get him as a client. But he said, no, I want you to be the president of my company when I retire. I said, well, I don't think I'm going to do that, but I would like to at least stay in touch, which I did. He died a couple years later, and just through pure coincidence, I got his daughter, who's a beneficiary of a large trust that he set up, as a client because she wasn't satisfied with her arrangement. So we've been working on that case since then. That's going to go to mediation December 21st. It was an interesting coincidence that I was happy to help out on because I thought her father was a good guy, and she is too. I like the fact that in the areas we're involved in, trust and estates and business transactions, we have suggested language both for titling the issue we're involved in, according to what description the client's given us on the LegalMatch posting. And we have basically further options to basically put on the reply to the client in terms of saying how we think we can help. And then we can immediately get into the client, talk to the client by simply replying. And then we get their contact information, which is namely their phone number and their email. And I follow up immediately every time I do that with a client that looks promising. And I'll call them usually, number one. If I don't get them on the phone and want to contact them, I do leave them an email. But generally, I usually get them on the phone. A lot of times I'll call back if I don't reach them immediately. So we got a couple calls this afternoon from persons we had tried, and they called back, and I think both of them we got as clients. We really collect just about all the money, all the billings we do. We do get money up front. We try to keep on top of that. And the clients seem, with very few exceptions, willing to pay. You have to get to know what the client's issue is. You have to know the client a little bit. We don't spend a lot of time doing that, but probably 15, 20 minutes, maybe at the most a half hour, But the client and you will know within a time period, usually, whether or not they want to hire you and whether or not you can help them as a client. And sometimes we have to say no, and sometimes they go elsewhere also. But for the ones we do get, which are, I'm going to go out on a limb a little bit and say it's a majority that we talk to. We do get paid. We get enough money in the door to look at the issue, talk to the client, maybe talk to the opposing side if there's an opposing side. And when it comes time to re-up the ante, the client's almost always willing to do that if we need more money. So we made money. We made money, and I think we found solutions for a lot of people. We have actually been impacted to some degree by that. I'm trying to think exactly how. Well, we have been impacted, but LegalMatch has helped because it has given us, it seems to me that the issues in the area we're involved, trust and estates, they've got to be settled now because generally it involves the death of a person who has died. And so the trust or the estate needs administration, and there are timelines within which you have to do that. So whether you're dealing with a COVID issue or whatever, basically the timeline marches on. And you have to meet those deadlines or you're not going to get the proper administration of the trust of the estate. So that in that way, it's helped us out a lot because work has kept coming in during the COVID crisis. I like them because they're available. So if you have a question or an issue or even a complaint, which I don't think we've had very many of, if any, but they're always there. If they don't answer the phone directly, immediately then we do get a call back right away. So they're responsive. I'm saying the trust in the estates area, we're posted in both Oregon and Washington. I would say most of our postings come from Washington. We get a lot from Oregon. And I'm guessing now purely, but I'm guessing that on a weekly basis, we get between a dozen to 15 postings in trust and estates in Oregon and Washington. I would say probably 25 to 30%. Now, we get them. When I say we get them, we don't talk to all 12 to 15% of them. We have a pretty good description from the client's LegalMatch postings of what the case is about. So we look at it and evaluate it. I have another attorney that works with me in terms of doing that. A lot of them, we just don't answer. We just go by the weight. They go by the weight side, so we don't answer. And that's for various reasons. And because we don't want to waste either our time or the client's time, we respect both our times. But the ones we do answer, I'm going to say we get probably close to the majority of the ones we answer. We We've only experienced one other one, and LegalMatch is far, far superior. I don't know if you want to know the name of the other one. I think I still maybe am enrolled in it, but I get very few postings that I can use. Very few. By getting clients that come to the door, when they do come to the door, they always pay. We don't take them as a client unless they agree to pay. So it generates quite a bit of income and interesting cases. I generally have dealt with, frankly, larger states, larger corporate issues, larger LLC interests that want to get off LegalMatch. It's not to say I haven't had large cases in LegalMatch, but they're very, very interesting cases for the most part, and I enjoy them. I will say this much, LegalMatch does generate some large clients. One of the first ones, actually my partner and I are both registered on LegalMatch, and we both talked to the one client. He chose my partner because he said he enjoyed his Irish charm more. But anyway, he said it jokingly. But the case was a case of a corporation that is sold just a couple of years ago for $160 million. And the client was interested in, we knew the firm that handled the sale, but the client was interested in further work. And he had a lot of work to do. And so we acquired him as a client through LegalMatch. I've had actually people in here training, and I have been trained with, and I answer quite a few of the calls. I don't answer nearly as many as another attorney does, and he has actually taken training for answering phone calls from clients. So he is probably a number one contact for the clients that come in. And I've actually had other attorneys who say, would you mind taking maybe half hour just to maybe train our person a little bit? So he's brought in other people. We have let other attorneys come in who we know are friendly. And generally, they've been in other areas of the law than we are. And they have had their LegalMatch people sit with our guy here. His name is Nick Corbett, and see how he does it. And I've had them come back and say, by the way, thank you, because we're getting cases now. We're always very jealous of what area they're going to be in. If they're in trust and estates, no, I would always tell them what I've told you. It's a good deal, and we wish them the best of luck. And they should talk to somebody who has been involved and has been successful with LegalMatch, because it does take a little bit of experience. I know this one person in particular who was doing nothing but calling LegalMatch for a very good friend of mine who used to work for me, and they were having no results at all, and they were in the area of family law. And after they sat down with us for maybe half hour, they went back and made a lot of money in LegalMatch simply because they acquired some skills in terms of how to approach the client, and that's what it took.